It has been a while since I published a new episode in this English channel. Let's get back into the business. We'll start with the US retirement series. So if you are not in the US, this series is not going to be of any help to you. Feel free to skip this series and save yourself some time. US folks, we will start with this series with Pretax 401k. Hello everyone, I'm Vijay Mohan and you are watching Investment Insights. "401k is a retirement plan offered through an employer. That means you will not be able to open a 401k account all by yourself. It has to be provided by your employer, and the amount you are contributing to 401k has to come from your paycheck. You cannot just contribute to your 401k from your savings account. It has to come from your paycheck. How much can you contribute? Every employee can contribute up to $23,000 per year. That means you can contribute $23,000 to your 401k and your spouse can contribute another $23,000 to his or her 401k. If you are 50 years or older, you can contribute an additional catch-up contribution, $7,500 per year. This is just your contribution limit. But an employer might match your contribution up to a certain percentage. Let's say that your salary is $100,000 per year and your employer is matching up to 7%. 7% of 100,000 would be $7,000. That means your employer will match your contribution dollar to dollar up to $7,000 of your contribution. So if you have maxed out your 401k by contributing $23,000 this year, your employer would have matched your first $7,000 with an additional $7,000. So your total contribution for this year would have become $23,000 plus $7,000, $30,000. But there is a catch in this employer match. Each employer might have a vesting schedule for their match. This vesting schedule defines when you can actually claim their matched money. Let's say that your employer has a vesting schedule of 2 years. Then in those 2 years, the match-up amount contributed by your employer will be in your account, but not vested yet. That means if you leave the job within the 2 years of your joining date, then you will not get that employer match. But after 2 years, that employer matched amount will be totally yours, even if you leave the job. Also, after that vesting period of 2 years, all your newer employer match money will be vested immediately in your account without any restrictions. The 2 years vesting period is just an example. It will be different for different employers. Okay, I get it. Employer match is a nice bonus. But is there any advantage to a 401k beyond the employer match? Good question. There are two main advantages. To understand that, you should know how a 401k works. The contributed money in a 401k is pre-tax. That means you do not pay tax on the money you are contributing, but you will pay the tax when you are withdrawing the money. So essentially, tax is deferred, postponed until you withdraw the money. If you are going to pay the tax anyway, what is the advantage here? Here comes the first advantage. Let's say that your taxable family income is $120,000 and your tax filing status, married filing jointly. The whole $120,000 is not going to be taxed at the same tax rate. We already know this from marginal tax rate versus effective tax rate episode. The first $23,200 will be taxed at 10%. The next $71,100 will be taxed at 12%. The rest of the $25,700 will be taxed at 22%. 22% here is your marginal tax rate. That means if you save any money in a tax advantaged pre-tax account, your savings come from your topmost tax bracket 22%. So let's say that you save $20,000 into your pre-tax 401k. Your taxable income now becomes $100,000. So your 22% tax rate is applicable only for $5,700 instead of the original $25,700. What does that imply? You are saving 22% on tax for your 401k contribution. But if you withdraw the same $120,000 from your pre-tax 401k after your retirement, how will it be taxed? It will be taxed exactly as you see here. 10% for the first $23,200, 12% for the next $71,100 and 22% for the last $25,700. You see what is happening here? You saved at the highest marginal tax rate when you contributed the money. But when you withdraw, you are paying bottoms up tax rates from the lowest to the highest effective tax rate. So you are saving money at the topmost marginal tax rate and withdrawing at the effective tax rate. This is your first advantage. To understand the second advantage, let's look at an example. Let's say that your taxable family income is $120,000. Then your federal marginal tax rate is 22%. If you max out your 401k by contributing $23,000, then your federal tax savings is 22% of 23,000, $5,060. When you contribute to 401k, you will not just save on federal tax. You will also save on your state tax as well. If you are in Illinois state, your state tax rate is 5%. So your state tax savings is 5% of 23,000, $1,150. So a total savings of $6,210. Let's say this tax savings $6,210 is growing at a rate of 10% every year for 25 years. Then by the end of the 25th year, this $6,210 would have become $67,283. This $67,283 is from just 1 year of tax savings, $6,210. What if you max out your 401k every year and save $6,210 every year for 25 years? You would have saved $739,000. This $739,000 is purely from your tax savings. What would be your total retirement portfolio after 25 years? Contributing $23,000 per year for 25 years with a growth rate of 10% will result in $2.7 million. Out of the $2.7 million, $739,000 is just from tax savings. Your absolute tax savings is 25 times $6,210, $155,250. But you are achieving a total of $739,000 of tax savings because of the compounded growth of your tax savings. This compounded growth of tax savings is called tax deferred compounding, because you are letting your deferred tax savings, that is your postponed tax savings, to grow exponentially every year. Or in other words, by not paying $150,000 to the IRS as tax, you have saved an additional $584,000 in 25 years. This tax deferred compounding is the second advantage of 401k. With these two advantages, no one should be hesitating to max out their 401k. Everyone should try their best to contribute the maximum $23,000 into their 401k. But $23,000, isn't that a huge amount? Yeah, if you look at the yearly contribution, it does look huge, but it becomes $1,917 for monthly. For a bi-weekly paycheck, it is just $885. Considering that it is pre-tax amount, you are actually letting go of only $600 something every paycheck. This bi-weekly savings of $600 something with a growth rate of 10% can become $2.7 million in 25 years. Isn't that worth saving for? I will let you make that decision. All this is just pre-tax 401k. There are a couple of other 401k versions, Roth 401k and after-tax 401k. We will look into those in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and please share this video with any of your family and friends who have no idea about 401k. See you all soon in the next episode.